Hello, I'm Mr. Garfield.
And I'm Miss Sheridan.
And we're going to teach you how to play the clarinet today. Alright, so to put together your clarinet, first take the reed out of its case and put it in your mouth to make it nice and wet. Then, while the reed is still in your mouth, take the two joints of the clarinet. This one, with the register key, is called the upper joint, and the other one, with the thumb holder, is called the lower joint. These fit together real nice, and you fit them together with this lip covering this metal piece, and they should just slide on. If they don't slide on perfectly, just put a little cork grease on there and they should go great. Once that is on, put on the bell on the very bottom, and put this down for the moment while you get your mouthpiece and your barrel fit together. Like so. Now take the ligature off of the mouthpiece and take the reed out of your mouth. I have an extra one right here. And put it on the mouthpiece so that just a little bit of the black part is coming over the reed. Once that is firmly on, place the ligature on over the reed and tighten down the ligature. Now it shouldn't be too tight or you'll break the reed, and make sure not to damage or bend the reed at all in this process. Tighten it down, and then take the rest of your clarinet and slide it on over the cork, and it should line up with the register key right here. So you're playing it like this.
Now we're going to learn how to make a sound on the clarinet. Mr. Garfield here is going to demonstrate for us. So there are a few things that you need to do to make a really good embouchure, and that just means the way that you set up your mouth on the clarinet. And so the first thing is you need to cover your bottom teeth with your bottom lip and make sure it's nice and tight, like a hard cushion. And then when you bring the clarinet up, you want your top teeth to touch the top of the mouthpiece. Right. And then make sure you're sitting up and you don't go to the clarinet, bring it to you. And so it's just pointing down by your knees. And then, when you've done all that, think about flattening your chin and pulling it down to the ground. Yes. And then, the very last thing is to pull back the corners of your mouth like a smile. And that keeps everything nice and tight. Now why don't you give it a try? Great! Now when you play the clarinet, you also need to articulate so that the beginnings of your notes are distinct and you can hear them. Otherwise it's just kind of wish-wash in between notes. So in order to articulate, you use your tongue, and that should be the only thing that's really moving. And even though your tongue is blocking the airflow doesn't actually stop. So you keep moving the air through and you just kind of block it for a split second with your tongue so that we really hear the beginning of your notes. And you want the very tip of your tongue to go to the tip of the mouthpiece. You don't want to go from the top because that'll buzz and tickle your tongue. And you don't want to go flat against it because that'll make you squeak. You just want to touch the very top. So, Mr. Garfield, can you start by saying ta, ta, ta?
Ta, ta, ta.
Now that feeling of your tongue is similar to what it's going to feel like when you articulate. Now can you try that on the clarinet? That was great. So you hear that little crisp at the beginning of the notes? That's what good articulation sounds like. Okay, so now Mr. Garfield and I are going to demonstrate the first 3 notes that we're going to learn on the clarinet. We're going to be using our Standard of Excellence clarinet book, and if you can open to page 6, that's where you'll find the notes E, D, and C, with which we're going to learn. And remember, E is the first line on the staff, and D is just below it, and C is its own line. It's the first ledger line below the staff. So, E, can you show them how that is? On the back, you can see that we are covering the tone hole with our left thumb. And then on the front side of the clarinet, you cover the first hole with your first finger. Can you show us what that sounds like? Beautiful. Now, to play D, all you have to do is keep those two fingers down and then add your second finger. Great. Now to play C, you just have to add one more finger. Now you know 3 notes, and that's enough to play plenty of songs. So at home, if you want to practice using these 3 notes, you should try number 16 or number 17 or even number 18 if you really have the hang of it. Now, remember, on the clarinet, these notes are E, D, and C, but those are concert D, C, and B flat.
All right, kids, look at number 16, Hot Cross Buns. See if you can play along with me. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Make sure you're using that tongue to cut off the air to the reed.
Now we are going to go over how to safely put your clarinet away and take good care of it. So, just like we started with the reed when we were putting it together, we're going to start with the reed when we take it apart. So gently unscrew the ligature, and then slide it off, and put your reed back into your reed case. And just slide it in until it stops. You don't have to force it. And then you can take off the barrel and mouthpiece and just gently twist the parts of the clarinet apart. And then you can put the ligature back on the mouthpiece and put those in your case. Now, for the rest of the clarinet, before we put it away, we want to wipe some of the moisture out. So there will be a cloth in your case. It looks something like this. It's a cloth with a string and a heavy weight at the end. And you just take the weight, and be careful not to hit the sides of the clarinet, and you drop it down so that it falls through the upper joint and the lower joint until you see it come out of the bell. And then you gently pull the swab through, and that just takes care of all the moisture that's in there so that nothing builds up. And then you can continue by twisting off the bell. And finally, carefully twist apart the upper joint and the lower joint, being careful of these bridge keys that they don't get jammed. And then put them back in the case. And your clarinet is all safe until the next time you practice.
Which should be every day.